So Trump has just introduced brand new tariffs across the board globally, and this has caused a huge, massive market reaction with Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins going down, as well as the stock market crashing. What does this mean? What's going to happen in the future? Is the Fed still going to cut rates? What's going to happen to inflation? Let's just talk about it. Probably tell I'm not in Bali at the moment. I'm actually in the UK, which is why I get to walk and actually talk about this. So, as you guys know, Trump has recently just imposed global tariffs across the board, with China and the EU being some of the most aggressive tariffs at around 50%, 34%, and 20%, which is pretty crazy. And we've actually had China just retaliate on those tariffs as well, imposing 34% taxes onto US as well. And this is likely going to be the case with a lot of other countries. They are going to start to retaliate. Now, one of the main concerns of this tariffs, especially when it comes to US citizens, is this is going to put a massive pressure on the US economy if there isn't going to be any kind of tax cuts, which I do believe personally that Trump has to do something in terms of cutting taxes, whether that's income tax, that's what is rumored at the moment. There's got to be some kind of leeway, because otherwise this will cripple the US economy, not just on the supply side, but also on the consumer side, because obviously the goods will end up going up in price because of the tariffs, and the end consumer is going to be the one that's going to have to pay for that. Now, the flip side is, and the argument is, this brings back business to the US, which is amazing, and that is, great for US companies. But the problem being is that, this may take 1 to 2 years to kind of come into play. So in the short to medium term, this could be inflationary. Now, there is the counter argument of actually the tariffs are becoming deflationary. And the reason why is we can actually see in Trueflation that the inflation rate is now down to 1.38%, down from 2.8% just in the last month alone. And that is massively due to the tariffs that Trump has started to impose, not just in Canada and Mexico, also for the rest of the world now. As we talked about this theory many times before, that Trump is purposely crashing the crypto and stock market so they can refinance the $9.2 trillion worth of debt that they do need to refinance in the next 6 months. And by crashing the market, that also means that people are running out of stocks and risk-on assets like crypto and buying up the 10-year treasury bond. And with that, the yields are starting to come down. And we could see that month on month, the yields are starting to come down, which actually makes debt cheaper and more readily available for people to utilize and inject into the economy. We can also see in the global liquidity index that the global liquidity index is actually increasing, which means that there is more liquidity available globally. This has started to increase over the last couple of months. So we should see this liquidity slowly start to go into the stock market and crypto with a 107-day lag. And we can already see that the Fed is trying to wind down quantitative tightening and move into quantitative easing. And this is due to start around June and July, but they are taking the step forward to actually start winding down quantitative tightening, which is good. This is the first move to then start quantitative easing. Also start happening is negotiations with the tariffs that the US have imposed on other countries. The likelihood is a lot of these countries can't afford for these tariffs to be put in place. So what they'll have to do is they'll have to renegotiate with the US by lowering their tariffs on the US, and the US will lower their tariffs respectively. This could actually increase global trade massively as it becomes more fairer on both sides. This is an ideal situation, of course. However, the opposite is true, like China have just come in and imposed 34% taxes. So the opposite could be true as well. Optimistic that a lot of the other countries are not going to retaliate in that way, and they're actually going to try and renegotiate with the US. But China's playing hardball right now. So we'll see if the US and China start renegotiating their deals as well and start to get their tariffs down. Lots of power plays, lots of chess moves happening at the moment. But considering that all of these tariffs have been put into place, the crypto markets has actually held up relatively well. Specifically, Bitcoin has held up very well in comparison to the stock market. I think this is a testament to the fact that Bitcoin is now becoming a store of value and is becoming a staple in everyone's portfolio. Now, is it a hedge against a bad economy? Probably not quite yet. It isn't quite like gold, but it's starting to get there, which is really good sign. Bottom line is that short to medium term, the crypto markets are still going to go sideways and down, until we start to see global liquidity starting to ease its way back into the crypto markets, also quantitative easing starting, and also the Fed to cut rates, which is looking to be around June and July. Now, with the markets going down, this is a real opportunity to actually get back into Bitcoin or the likes of Solana or Sui or Hyperliquid, a lot of these really good utility altcoins in at really, really good prices. I do believe that the next phase of the bull market will start in Q3 of 2025. So now that we're in Q2, this is the accumulation phase. This is the phase where we can start to think about an altcoin strategy, a Bitcoin strategy, and also a longer term strategy. Just in case Bitcoin ends up going on a multi-year bull cycle like gold did when its ETF was first launched in 2004, where gold ended up going on a bull market for 8 years. Now, Bitcoin's currently in year 1 of its ETF. So the priority for my coaching group right now is capital preservation, also Bitcoin long-term strategy, and also looking at what our altcoin strategy is going to be going into Q3 of 2025. You guys want to get prepared for the next phase of the bull market and want your own Bitcoin and altcoin strategy done, then make sure you click the link down below and apply for my coaching program where I can become your mentor and help you with your portfolio. That's it for today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.